anyone have any questions, please put your hand up.
Yes, please.
Just wanted to question about what you said about women keeping all their hair. I just wanted to know where that comes from.
So it comes from when the first Sikh baptism ceremony took place in 1699, when the 10th Guru laid out exactly the tenets around Sikhism. So before that, Sikhs did keep their hair, they did cover their heads, but through that ceremony, the 10th Guru established the exact red, we call it, or code of conduct that Sikhs were to follow. And keeping hair unshorn, so uncut hair on all their body, was one of the main tenets put into place during that ceremony. So it comes from there, and it comes from the idea of accepting the will of God, and accepting our body to be what it is. So within that, it also includes ideas of no tattoos or piercings and things like that. So it comes under those ideas. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah.
So on the topic of hair, I've got Muslim colleagues, and actually I've never actually asked them. I've asked them in passing, what's the idea behind Muslim men keeping hair as well? And is there any kind of, like, keeping their beard to a certain length, is there any reason behind that?
It is the beard is what we call the sunnah, which was the practice of the Holy Prophet of Islam, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. So this was some of his practice. One part of his practice was to keep the beard, and not the hair, but the beard. The head should be shaven, no problem. But he always he said this in several hadiths, which is his sayings. So Muslims are generally following all what he practiced, all what he said. They always follow the same. Whatever he said, they follow in his footsteps. Yes.
I've got a question for both of you, actually. Do either of you think that there could be at any time a woman could be like a senior religious figure within the religion? Like, for example, if you were Catholic, do you think that a woman could ever be Pope?
You want to answer?
I think you want to from both of us.
Oh, okay.
Or even a bishop? Yeah.
There are the thing is for women in Islam. Islam says that women and men are on the same level of spiritual level, on the same level. They have the same rights. They have, like they are on the status of men and women is the same. But taking the responsibilities are different. Responsibilities and jobs, like a job, like being a bishop or being the Pope is a job. It's like a role in the society. And Islam does not give this to a woman, like being an imam also, like leading the prayers in the mosque, leading men. These things are not meant for women because it is inconvenient for women to do this sort of job. So for several reasons. So in these circumstances, a woman would never be taken into consideration to fill this position. Not because she's less than a man in status, but because her nature does not allow this to happen. Only because of her nature, not because of her status. There are two differences. If you look at the status of women, they are high in status. But there are things that they cannot do. Like, for example, men cannot give birth to children. So God will never want a man to be a mother, this sort of thing. So it is like the nature of a woman does not allow her to fill those positions. This is from the point of view, it's actually a natural thing. It's nothing to do with the teachings. It's just like a natural feeling that women, I would think about it, it's very inconvenient for women to fill those responsibilities.
Within Sikh history, there are examples of women being generals of armies and leading into battle and controlling armies. So there are definitely women who've taken positions of leadership. Within Gurdwaras, so within Sikh temples, when we worship, women do lead prayers. So we have over 3 days where all of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, so all of our scriptures are read from non-stop, and those take part in, say, hour or 2 hour slots that people volunteer to read, and that's continuous. And women take part in that. In our local Gurdwara, in our local Sikh temple, the president of the Gurdwara has been a woman in the past or a couple of times. So yes, women do take roles of leadership within our faith. So that is something that does happen. Within our community, it's more common for the congregation as a whole to choose who the leaders are and who they become. So kind of more like a democratic system. And yes, there have been women in the past who have led, and there are still women today who are leading. So yes, I think it's more in Sikhism a question of who is the right person as opposed to who is the right gender.
So would a woman be allowed to be the equivalent of a priest?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. In our Gurdwaras in England, a lot of the priests come over from India, so are from India. So mostly you find that they are men. However, the job that a priest does, so reading prayers, can be done from women. So the priests are employed by the Gurdwara, by the Sikh temple, to be there on a whole daily basis. So they live there and they take care of it. But leading the prayers isn't something that only they can do. Any member of the congregation, if they're able to, can come forward and say, well, can I lead this prayer today? And they're able to do that. So they can do the exact same job that they can do. They are able to do that.
Just I wanted to add also, if you are talking about in general, or because your question was about like a pope, but if it's talking about in general, of course, on lower levels, we have women, like if women are together gathering, there are women who can lead the prayers. There are organizations for women. There are organizations that we can have even women having a role in a leadership. Like, for example, I myself, I am filling a position in our community. I'm the director of a satellite channel, part of the main satellite channel. I work as the director, and under me comes males and females. So in this case, I am talking about in this sort of job, I can do it, I can handle it. But your question was about the leadership like a pope. So this is different. You know, like on the other levels, we have women. We have our women's organization. We have all the whatever is happening on the men's side is happening on the ladies' side as well. But because Islam does not allow the free mixing, so we have those organizations separate. So we have the women's organization. It has all the whatever work is done, whatever activities are done, we have it in our community. But it is separate from men. This is what is different. But as I'm saying that in certain circumstances, we also have this, like in our TV channel, we have men and women working in certain departments, and it comes like in my department, the males in my department, they come under me, and this is what I was talking about, that in this case, obedience comes under for the person who is in charge. So this is something that is happening on the levels, on different levels. But on the top level, as a pope, this is like the head, because as I said, the head is always, it has to be the man. And I think this comes also from other, you know, in historical things, like in the Bible, for example, we see the same thing. The man is the head of this organization.
I just had a question. So I know that you were referring that men can have up to 4 wives. Is that right? Are women allowed to have 4 husbands, or can women they're only allowed to marry once and that's it?
No, women can marry. You know, like if a woman marries and divorces and marries and her husband dies or something, she can marry as many times as needed. But she is not allowed to marry more than 1 husband in the same time, because this is actually for obvious reasons, like, for example, children. If a woman is married to more than 1 man, so the children, who is the father of the children, it can make some confusion here. And as I said, this teaching is to secure for women the marriage. If, like for example, if it's a time of war and most of the soldiers are males and they are, they are gone to war and never came back, so you find in the society a big number of females without males. So at these circumstances, then the marriage of more than one wife will balance this and will provide family life for all the ladies. But for men, there is no need for this because, first of all, men are they are the ones who don't need this, they don't need the sort of the family life like a woman. A man without, if he doesn't get married, he can live his own life, and he is not in need of the family life like a woman. A woman's nature, she needs the family life, she needs the sort of the security of a home and the husband. But men, it is not as important for them as women. So this is why the religion provides this for women. But men, if they want to get married, they can sort out themselves. If you look at any cultures, especially in the certain cultures, even today, you find that many girls want to get married, but they cannot because they are shy. They are, the way they were brought up. It doesn't make them. It doesn't make it easy for them to go out and find a husband. I'm not talking about the West. I'm talking about cultures in different parts of the world. But men don't have this problem. So this is why the Quran put this just in certain circumstances. It's not like something that has to happen, but this is why it is allowed. But
Please, could you clarify that in the case of the UK law?
The UK law does not allow this.
Thank you.
But I'm talking about, I'm not talking about laws, I'm talking about the religion of Islam. Islam allows this for certain reasons. So as I'm saying, in the West, for example, at the time of the Second World War, many ladies were left without husbands. They were widowed. And this caused a little bit of problem, and the morality of the society was affected. Because ladies could not find homes, could not find husbands, could not find family life. So this affects the whole society, and it affects the moral values of the society as well.
Do you not think that the case of the First World War in particular, where a lot of men were killed, led to women, and again in the Second World War, taking on jobs and careers that they otherwise might not have had? And indeed was partially responsible for women getting the vote in the UK. This has it's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the nature of women. Like a woman can go and work, she can go out and work, but her nature, she was created in such a way that the main thing for her, the priorities for her is to have a family life. So a woman, if she goes out to work and she acts like a man, and she forgets about her family life, within time, with the passage of time, she loses her feminine nature, and this is what Islam is the teachings of Islam are trying to prevent in this way. Because if you look at a woman who is just working, who forgets the family life, who forgets any emotions and any family and any what do I call it? The natural feelings of the woman, the emotions of the woman. She has to forget it if she just doesn't want to have a family life, and she just have to go out and earn her living, and that's it. But the nature of the woman, the female nature, is the nature of having a home and the family and children, and this is the sort of nature that women were created for. I'm not saying that they should not go out and work, but the nature of women is to be fulfilled better if she has this family life available for her.
I asked that just because I thought, because in terms of equality, I just think how a husband could give equality to all four women. I just thought that that might be a bit of a struggle there.
This is why the Quran was very clear. It said that if you cannot do this, then you are not allowed. It's not like a choice. If the man cannot do this, he is not by definition, by the Quranic law, he is not allowed to marry more than one wife if he cannot make this equal. You know, like if he is not just, if he's not acting with justice, he is not allowed. So if he does this and he is not acting, you know, with justice with this, he is doing something against the teachings of the Holy Quran. So it is very clear actually. I know some people abuse this law, but it is, you can't say that this is something that a fault in the teachings of the Quran. It is a fault in the people who are misapplying it or abusing it. Like if somebody goes and kills someone here, you can't blame the British law that he killed someone, because the law says you should not kill. So it is the same, you know, if somebody does not stick by the law, you can't blame the law for what has been done.
You were talking about Sikh women today keeping their kids, keeping their hair, which is what our Gurus instructed us to do, and the struggles they face. What advice would you have for girls coming into Sikhi from maybe a less religious background, where they've got pressure at home as well as outside to, you know, cut their hair, to conform? What gives the women the strength? You know, how can they find that strength to let their hair grow, to, you know, accept the Guru's will?
In Sikhism, I would say our greatest strength is our Gurbani, so the words that our Guru left us. Through our Gurbani we find inspiration, I find inspiration, we all do, and we find that strength. There's one account in history where the fifth Guru, his wife, so as she was talking to the other women, the women said to her, so you're the wife of the Guru, you're the wife of the king, the spiritual king. We wear all these gold bangles and we wear embellishments, but why don't you wear these things? Why, if you're the wife of the spiritual king, why do you not look like a queen? Where are your embellishments? What are your embellishments? And she felt quite troubled by this, so she went to her husband, she went to the Guru, and she said to him, this is what the women have said to me. What are my embellishments? What is our stance on this? What is our perspective on this? And the Guru told her to come back the next day. And when she came back the next day, he had written her, so this passage is now in Gurbani, it's in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, he had written her a spiritual composition, and in there it talks, it's not about worldly beauty, it's not about that, but it's about a relationship with God. And as he directed her to read that each day, and that would be her embellishment, and that would be her beauty. And I've taken inspiration from other women who I've listened to in other talks and lectures, etc. And they've said that when they've struggled in this sense, they refer to that. They refer to that spiritual text and they've read that on a daily basis. They've added that to their prayers, and they find that really helps. So our Gurbani, so the words of our Guru are a great source of inspiration and strength. As well as that, we take inspiration from our history. So I know that when I read the accounts of what our Sikh women went through, and the challenges that they faced right up to today, and I see amazing inspirational Sikh women, that gives me strength. As well as that, Sikhism really reinforces the idea of Sangat, so the idea of your company and the company that you keep. So it's this idea that there's always the analogy given of sandalwood. Sandalwood has this beautiful smell, and any other trees or any other woods that are in the company of sandalwood also take on that smell, even though they don't naturally produce that smell. And that's given as a reference to really emphasize how your company is eventually who you become. So surrounding ourselves with like-minded people, people who may not necessarily keep their hair, but people who are in favour of your spirituality, in favour of you becoming a better person, is the way to gain strength to make those changes for yourself. Yes?
Hiya, that's a very good answer, by the way, as well, because I'm Sikh, I cut my hair, but I spiritually do consider myself Sikh as well. Do you think there's anything our Gurdwara can do to reinforce the role of women in Sikhi? Because obviously our religion is all about equality, not just about man and woman, but, you know, child and adult, etc., etc. But in our society, we do not practice that, and we'd be foolish and deluded if we said yes, we do. We don't. So, is there anything more that we can do in our temples to further educate or reinforce or remind our Sangat, the role of women in Sikhi?
I think education is the answer.
Absolutely, I
Definitely.
completely agree.
I don't think we're doing enough to educate and also sometimes so for example, I mean, I've grown up and I've experienced that in the Gurdwara, I've seen women doing things and I've seen women taking a role. I've been lucky enough to experience that.
Absolutely.
So I've seen that within my community. But I've also seen some people or women shy away from doing that because they don't feel able. So I feel that same training, and the same for men, same for young men as well. So I was lucky enough to learn how to read Gurbani, learn how to read our scripture, etc., our prayers. And because of that, I feel I have the confidence to go up there and say it on a mic, which is quite scary. So I think education is our key here, which is it's our duty that if we felt that when we were younger, that or we feel that now that we're now within our society that women were not given that forefront, our history is there, or our translation for all the prayers that we have are there. It's our responsibility to take that forward and educate. Sometimes if we're looking at our Sikh countries to implement change, sometimes they need guidance on how to do it.
I agree.
Yeah, and being born and bred of this country makes a big difference in what we think is a good idea of a way of taking that forward. So I would say approach your local Gurdwara, come up with ideas, and perhaps not pinpoint the problems, but suggest solutions. And I'm
That's
sure,
good.
yeah, and I'm sure that they'd be grateful for a different insight. I know that our local communities have. It's all about the approach, is what we
Yeah,
found.
I agree.
But they're definitely more open. They need those ideas, and they need people to come forward with them.
Very good.
I have a question for both of you. Could you give me an example from each of your traditions of a woman who has inspired change, or someone who you find personally inspiring in terms of what they've done or what they've achieved?
Well, I can think of many women actually. You know, like at the time of the Holy Prophet of Islam, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, his followers, both men and women, were very inspiring. They had very inspiring stories. And I am thinking about women had a very special role from the very beginning of Islam. The first person who accepted Islam was a woman. It was the wife of the Holy Prophet himself. She was the first person ever to accept Islam was a woman. And again, when the Muslims started, in the very beginning, when they started to be known to the others, the disbelievers started very, very harsh persecution, and they were really harsh, and they were doing a lot of early Muslims had really faced a lot of atrocities at that time. The first person who was martyred was a woman also. Being in this position, it means that she had a very high level of courage first. She was the first ever person to be killed in the name of for Islam. It means first of all that she had seen something very very special, that she wouldn't change her beliefs under any circumstances until she met her death. She is an inspiration for the others because she has shown this sort of bravery that should be in men, but she was more brave than any other man. Of course, men followed after that, but she was the first one. So being the first one is always a very special, like a very special position, to be the first to do something. Of course, we know the wives of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, they were also an inspiration in their own way, all of them. But I can think also about his wife, Sayyida Aisha. She is very special because she was very scholarly. She learned from him a lot, and she became the teacher of the Muslims after he departed from this world. So also this is something very special because it is always said about her that she was married by force. She did not want to. She was very young, and the stories which are told about her. It is always said that she was struggling and she was suffering too much in this marriage. But if this was true, if this was really true,
once he departed from this world, she would have just left Islam and lived her own life. You know, she said, he's gone now, and I'm free to do what I want to do. But this does not happen. Exactly the opposite happened. After he departed from this world, she took over the education of his followers. So this means that she was very inspired by him, and she became the inspiration for the rest of the Muslims. So these are the ladies. Of course, I have so many in mind. There is also the lady called Khawla at his time also. She was at the time of a battle when things were going difficult for the Muslims. She carried the sword, and she went on the horse, and she went to fight for herself on her own, and she was an inspiration for men at that time. So this is also, you know, like soldiers. She was acting like men at that time. So this is another inspiration. All those ladies who were around him, they were really inspirational. And through the history, we find that this happened all the time. There is, even in the history, it shows like there is one lady called Rabi'a al-Adawiyya. She came after, like in the 1st century after he departed from this world. She was also the person who taught the Muslims the real love of God, the real, you know, I don't know if you know Sufism. Sufism means that, you know, the people who are very, like, who leave the world and just worship God all the time. They had this before her. The people were doing this like sort of a fear from God, fear from his punishment or something like that. She came to the world at that time, and she taught people that it is not fear of God, it is love of God. Because he's very, he is, you know, all his attributes are of beauty and benevolence, and this is, it makes you automatically fall in love with God. So she taught the world also this type of love of God, that you forget everything else for his sake, and you live your life just for his sake, not out of fear from his punishment, but out of love for him. So this is another inspirational lady. And of course, all the time we have this until our present time. We have the time of the promised Messiah of our community. We have the ladies also around him, his wife, his daughters, the rest of after him. We have the people we call the khulafa, his successors, the wives of the successors. We have beautiful stories about them, and all through the history of the community we have beautiful stories about ladies. So ladies are part of this community. They share everything. They share the inspirational stories as well of their own, whatever they have done, whatever they have believed, whatever they have shown in their families, whatever happened. Today we have like ladies losing their husbands, losing their children for the sake of faith. You know, like in certain countries, the community, the people, the members of the community are being killed just because they are members of this community. And the ladies who are left behind, the widows, the daughters, the sisters, they show great bravery. And these are all inspirational. So I can't just name one or two. It is all through the history of Islam. We have so much stories that time cannot, you know, like I have to write a long list. But I just gave you a few examples that from the time of the Holy Prophet ﷺ until today, we have inspirational stories about ladies.
I would say it's the same in Sikhism. There's so many gems engraved in our history that it's hard to just pick out a few. I mean, in the talk, I just decided to pick, or just talk about two in particular, so Mata Gujibgoti and my Bago. And just talking about them, I think that when I looked at Mata Gujibgoti, I just found her so inspirational because through all of her roles, she showed strength. And I think that only could the ninth Guru take on martyrdom, knowing that his son was so young, knowing that he had such a powerful woman to take care of the state and take care of all affairs and manage everything until he was old enough to become or take full responsibility of the gurus. And that's huge. That's a woman running a whole thing, a whole community, a whole establishment within itself. Mata Kaur was amazing because rather than her husband coming back and she's relieved to find him, you're safe, you're alive, we can be a family again. And she says, wait, you've left the battle, you've become a coward. And she stands up for what's right and she leads them back into battle. She leaves that battle a widow, and then she still sticks with her faith. She then becomes a bodyguard of the Guru, which is a phenomenal process. I still find that amazing. Even in that period of time, I would find it quite surprising now if I found one of the Queen's Guards to be a woman. But the fact that one of our Gurus took on a woman as his own bodyguard just reinstates for me not only how amazing Sikhism is in terms of its ideas of women and what women can be, and really talking about what they are good at, rather than you are a woman, you do this, or then you are good at this, so you do this, as opposed to no matter what your gender is. From then on, the 10th Guru's wife actually, so through all the sieges, so she's seen battles, she's seen all 4 grandsons become martyrs, she's seen her husband leave this world, all the family pretty much have gone. After that, she runs the state of affairs, she sends out letters to all the different regions. She coordinates all the different Sikh efforts that are being made at that time. She takes leadership and she takes that role. Not just that leadership though, but our history shows the amount of love that she had for the faith and for her husband, for the 10th Guru. The discussions between them, so when she knows, she realizes that finds out that he's leaving this world, and he says, this is the last time I will see you. She says, but I don't eat before seeing you, that kind of thing. And then he gives her guidance on what to do in terms of that. But that immense love and that immense just real faith and real ability to gather strength from that in hard times, not kind of feeling that, oh, I can't take that role because I can't do this because I'm a woman, stepping up to what's needed and being that. As well as that, when it's required, being the backbone, taking the backseat, and not seeing that as something that's making you a lesser person, just as much as not making you a greater person if you're taking leadership. I think that's huge in all of the Sikh inspirational figures that I see from history and from modern day.
We've just got time for, I think, maybe 2 more questions before we're going to have to leave it. So I'm just going to do randomly 1, 2, okay?
I can't hear. Can you shout? I can't hear.
Oh, sorry.
Hear.
You
It's a bit weird.
spoke about women and men have different skills and abilities, and how like women can be sometimes shy, but like men can be shy too. And fundamentally, like women can get angry, men can get angry. We have ego, they have ego. So what are the skills and abilities that you see that men and women are different?
What I was talking about, we were talking about, I think it was this question about marriage, more than one wife. What I was trying to explain is that, women have a nature. The woman is naturally shy and quiet more than a man. The manly qualities should be, the strength and being brave and being, this is the manly. This is what it is known for a man to be manly, to be brave, to be open. But a woman, the nature of a woman is to be quiet and shy and, a bit hidden in her feelings, not like a man open. This is, the nature, the original nature of men and women. In our societies today, we see something different because men and women became, women went out and tried to be like men in everything. I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm not saying that a woman should not go out to work, but her nature, is to be fulfilled more as a mother and as a wife and a mother. This is what I mean. But I'm not saying that she should not go out or she should not work. If she wants to work, if there is need for her to work, she should work. What I'm saying is that Islam allows a woman to stay at home if she chooses to do so. She's not forced to go out to work. It is not like husband and wife. The husband tells her, off you go, you have to work because we need some more money. The husband has no right in Islam. He has no right to send his wife out to work. If she chooses to go out, she can. Her Islam gives her the right to choose.
if she wants to stay at home and have children and have a family. And this is why, this is also one of the reasons why Islam allowed more than one wife for a man, because to give this opportunity to a woman, so that any woman, if she needs a family, she will find one. If this was not allowed, many women will be stuck there without a choice. They will have no choice but to go out and work and live like a man. This is what I mean. But in general, the wife has this choice. She has actually, the wife has more choices than the husband in Islam. And this is one of the reasons that at the time of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, men actually went to the Holy Prophet and told him, you are giving women too many rights that we are left behind. You know, they were just telling him this because they found that women are taking too much of their rights. You know, they were used to be the boss and the superior ones, but when Islam came, they were level and they had duties and rights. Each of them had duties and rights. So men complained to the Holy Prophet at that time that they were losing their status and right. So I don't know if this answers the point you are asking.
Yeah, in a way. But I think, isn't it sometimes you can say like how you're saying the woman has like she can be shy and the man is brave, but that's like our environment and I think genetics rather than naturally it being that way. It is determined by our environment, how we're brought up, rather than it being natural. Like we can have the same attributes that a man has. I can be brave, I can be confident, so can like a man be confident and brave, rather than a woman being shy and hidden.
This is what I'm saying, that it gives this opportunity. If you know, like if a girl is not shy, then well and good, she can go and sort out her life. But if a girl is shy, what can she do? You know, like this is what I'm saying, that if she happens to be brought up in a culture that, you know, brings up girls in such a way that they are shy, they are even in some cultures, girls are not allowed to talk about marriage and to think about, you know, like openly about this thing. They are asked about the marriage, they are asked, you know, their consent is one of the conditions of marriage. But they are brought up in a way to you know, not to be, you know, talking openly about those things. And Islam is like, you know, a pharmacy. It has to have a medicine for every situation, not for just one situation. Islam is a religion for all people. So it has to, you know, like if you go to a pharmacy and you find that it's lacking medicines in for certain diseases, you will feel this pharmacy is not good. So in Islam, it provides solutions for every situation, for every culture, for every people, for every circumstances. All is there. You don't need to use everything. You use what you need from these teachings. So in a situation where a girl is shy, she will have this solution. She will have this medicine for her to cure her situation. This is what I mean. But for another girl who is not shy, then there is no need for her to go to this solution. She can find another solution, which Islam also gives it to her. Like this marriage of you know, what we are talking about. Not every woman is expected to accept this. If she wants to accept it, if a woman is desperately in need of a family and she doesn't find any other solution, she can choose this. If she doesn't want it, she just walk away from it and not be involved in it. But the medicine has to be there to cure certain problems.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Just on behalf of everyone, I want to thank you for your time and effort you put into the presentation. May Allah bless you. One question which I have is in regards to prophethood. In all religions, I think we can agree that prophethood is the highest status of a religion. I don't know about Sikhism, if there are female gurus or not, or female prophets, but history shows that there are no female prophets. Now, if that's the spiritual highest level you can reach, then shouldn't we see female prophets, but we don't find that we find male prophets. So prophet will come to men. If you shed some light on that,
Well, this kind of idea of prophethood isn't quite the same thing in Sikhism. So the idea of the highest state even you can reach within Sikhism is that of Brahmgyan, so knowledge or understanding of God. And the kind of easiest way to kind of explain that is where your essence. So we believe that there's that spark of God within every single being. So with the Atma, the soul within every single person has that spark of God. Where Brahmgyan comes into it, or where mukti or kind of liberation comes into it, is where we become one with that. So it's like, say if we had the ocean and we took a glass of water out of the ocean, that's separate, that water is separate. If we put that water back into the ocean, we can't get those molecules of water that were in those cups originally back and say that they are separate from the ocean. They're mixed, they're the same, they're one. So the highest state of spirituality within Sikhism is that oneness with God, where you and God, in terms of internally who you are, your being is the same. And there are examples of women. That's the whole idea where Sikhism says that this whole idea of male and female, it's your body. Your soul doesn't have a gender. That spark of light within you has no gender, which is where this whole idea of equality comes from. Remember, equality means equal but not the same. Our bodies are different, therefore we can do different things. I can be pregnant, I can have a baby. A man can't do that. So that's a different role within that. But we're talking on a spiritual basis, there's no difference. So I can work my way towards that spiritual state, and a man can work his way towards that spiritual state, and there's no difference within, because my body doesn't prevent me from doing that. That's my soul that makes that pathway. And that's why Sikhism believes in equality, and that's kind of the main basis for it. Because in that sense, in the eyes of God, that's why we say in the eyes of God there is no man or woman, because we believe in reincarnation. I could be a woman in this birth, I could be a man in the next birth. My soul is still genderless, my soul is intact and has that spark of God, and I can reach God perhaps in this lifetime, or maybe the next lifetime as a male. That makes no difference, my gender. It's what's inside me that makes that spiritual state.
And also in Hinduism, there's female gods. So there is examples.
Just wanted to add, I agree that there is no gender. Spiritually, there is no gender, and the very interesting thing also is that the Holy Quran uses also the soul in the feminine gender, and nafs is always a female, and this is because it gives birth to a higher level of spiritual status. So it is always mentioned as a female in the Holy Quran. Whether it's a man or a woman, the soul is a female, and nafs, it's called an-nafs. But as you were talking about prophethood, ladies in the Holy Quran were mentioned to have received revelation. There are certain ladies, like the mother of the Prophet Moses, the mother of Prophet Jesus, they received revelation. So receiving revelation is, like the highest status one can reach. But a prophet is a person who receives revelation and is supposed to convey this to others. So the status of receiving revelation, it's the highest, is to have this communication with God. And this communication can be for women and men, no difference. But being a prophet is like a responsibility, a mission, a job for some person who is appointed by God to go and give this, convey this message to the people. This is given to men only as prophets. Prophethood, like it's the messenger from God who come and convey this message. So this job is given to men because it is a very, very hard job to do. It's a very harsh responsibility, any prophet who came to this world, how much he was, how badly he was treated, and how much did he suffer from the people around him. So God is saving women from this, from facing this. But talking about the spiritual level, they reach the level, they have communication with God, they receive revelation, same as men. But only it is, as I'm saying, a responsibility that is given to men to save the women from this very harsh responsibility.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to have to wrap things up now. So thank you very much to everyone for coming. On behalf of SOAS Sikh Society and SOAS as an MD community, Please follow both of us on Facebook for future events. And yeah, thank you very much.